Hey YouTube, it's Taki with TaqiTech, episode 23 here, printing the task out, which really, I'll explain that in just a second, and last out, which is something that we've talked about before, but this is sort of a revision now that we've gotten both our tasks and our breaks loaded up and we know where we need to how we're going to kind of sort through them in order to make this timesheet. How do we print out the last out now? So, that's a look at the code here, but let me first bring in the actual spreadsheet itself and kind of show you guys where we're at here. So let's take a look at model 6, and as you can see here, I've already run it one time. If you look right here, and you'll see what I was able to run. So it looks exactly like it's supposed to. Model 6 is kind of done here. And when I said task out, what I mean is, so we go from task 41 to task 45, and we have to drop the one line as opposed to going right here. All right, so back over here, and I haven't coded the button yet, so we're going to go right into our main method, so to speak, and we're going to hit play here, and there it is. So we have our task in right here, or task out. There we go. And here we have our last out, 242. Okay, so I just wanted to talk a little bit about the code itself. So here we have basically the whole code again. We finish that if statement with inside the loop that kind of tells us, okay, what are we looking at here? Are we going to print a task period, or are we going to print a break period? And then this is where I put the last out. Right after we execute that, I say, okay, if the minute counter is equal to 0, meaning that we've gone through everything and we printed out all our breaks, then we're going to print our last out. And here's where I put the task out. So basically, before this was the one if statement, and now basically I put an else on it, and I take a wait. So this was at some point somewhere. I can't recall exactly where. I can't remember if it was just a line of code, but I encapsulated it within an if statement. And basically what this says is that, okay, if row counter is equal to 2 and task is equal to basically the second task, because we're base 0. So if we've incremented it by one task, then I'm going to change the row counter to 3, and I'm going to print that value in the out portion within the 1. Otherwise, I just print in, and otherwise we're just printing in. So this is just the line of code that always prints in. So hopefully that wasn't too confusing for you. So we got those two fixed and running right now. What I'd really like to do is to do a couple of things here. First off, let me see where this is pointing right now. So right now it's pointing at new SS click, and I'd like it to point to main. Let's see here, edit. And we're dimming a lot of, okay, so I just point it right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually comment all these out, doing a little bit of live coding here today. And there's a better way, way better way of doing this. I'm just doing it the quick and easy way, using that exit sub again, so I don't read any of that other code down here. And we're going to call our main method. So new main is what it's called. And I don't remember even where it was. I wonder if we could just get into new main now that I know the name of it, which would be probably better. Assign macro. Let's call it new main. Spell it correctly. Let's try it out. All right, that seems to be working. Okay. I'm going to take off. I'm going to actually change the first break to 8:30. So we're going to break 41 here, so to speak. And I just want to see how well that works. 8:30. Let's see what we have here. So I think it worked the way I wanted it to work. Basically, I didn't want that drop there because we're still in 41 here. And what I really need to do is start printing out the task codes. Maybe I will do some live coding doing that right away too, since where are we at here on this video? We're only at 5 minutes, so this is usually like to go about 10 minutes on a video, and I've gone over sometimes. So let me get some live coding in here real quick. So we're at our print, and here goes. So let me think here. We're probably going to, before we increment the rows, this is probably where we're going to print. So let's write a little note here. Write the line number, a row number, and then we're going to write the task code. Okay. Or I mean, write or print is probably what we're looking at here. So probably going to have to change that to cells. Let me fix this up a little bit. So there should be row counter. And I'm gonna, no, we don't need to get new start time. Row counter value. Well, let's not put the equal sign there yet, because and I want to hard code this in. So see if I will remember this. So the row number is K and the code is J. K and J. So K. So let's see here. I'll leave that there, and then this will be J if if I'm correct. And I'll go back and confirm that right now. So I want to take a look at the row number. So J is for the code, K is for the number. We're going to subtract. So row counter will be 2 when it should be 1. So we just need to subtract 1 from row counter. And I'm not sure how that's going to work with the drop, but this should be the code right here. And can't remember what part of the array. So I'm going to put a stop here. This doesn't like that, but that will work. And let's go back and let's see when I hit this button. Let's see what happens. Let's take a look at the spreadsheet real quick. Oh, because we are only going through it the first time. So that looks good. 1. Let me see how I would like to see how it looks on when I put a drop back in it. Okay, row counter 2. So tasks. I forgot to put my watch on for tasks, so that's going to be here. Oh, that's an old tasks, and I need to refactor this, so that's probably what I'll be doing at some point today and throughout this next week. Oh, let's do an add watch. Yep, the whole. And let's take a look here and let's figure out which dimension. So it is in dimension 2, or yeah, dimension 2. So 0, 1. And if I go back to the code here, right here, print. I'm wondering what my task number is. Task is still 0. I always like it when my watch goes empty all of a sudden. I'm not really. Let me drag this up here and go back a step. Let's see. Why is task count empty here? It's iTask, not task count. Still 0. Oh, because we didn't go through the whole task. Interesting. I'm thinking I'm probably going to have to print the task code before we exit out the task. But for right now, I'm just going to leave this here. And I think when I run it, let's make sure we got them in the right place there. So 41 and 1, perfect. And I'm going to take the stop off and we're just going to run it. Let's take a look at the spreadsheet. That worked perfectly. But it's not going to work perfectly when we have a drop. And let me show that. So what was this time again? So let's go look at model 6. Model 6 had it at 10. Let's put it back at 10. All right, let's hit this. Oh, it didn't print out this one. Didn't print out the first one, which is odd. It didn't print it out for either one of them. The number or the code. I'm wondering why that happened. Let's take a look here. It has to be, and when you see something like that, that usually means you didn't place it in the right place. Why isn't it? So now I want to put my stop. I could try to go through the code, but it'd probably be easier just to put the stop back, hit the button, and let's see where we're at here. Row counter equals 3 already. So that's why, because it got incremented. Okay. I'm just going to hit stop here. Now I'm thinking we should probably, before we increment it, so where was that if statement? So that's the reason why I was a little confused. So it was a part of the bigger if statement that checked if it was a break or not. And if it is a break, then we're going to print the timeout from the start of the break to the end of the break. And if it wasn't, we're just going to add 1 second to it. So inside that if statement, we added this, which checks. But I think that we can probably move both of these before here, before there's any before anything gets incremented, and it should work okay. And you don't need to. I don't think we need to keep these together. And I might be actually hurting myself trying to. And that might be something that I might change or fix, so to speak, in a refactor. Let's try to run it now and see what happens. Now we didn't get our 45 and 2 here. I mean, I could print the code with the code, but we're still going to have the problem with the 2 because it's going to drop to 3 all of a sudden. And you can see up here, the code is messed up. It should be 41. So this is a good cliffhanger, something to leave off on. And then in the next episode, we will talk about my solution to this. So thanks for watching. Till next time, take it easy.